What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Credit Plug channel. So for today, we have another special guest. We have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Jason Crown from Crown Credit Pro. Welcome back to the channel, Jason.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about, something that a lot of people are thinking about right now. And this is the new FICO 10. This is a CNBC article that came out a couple weeks ago and basically talking about the impact of the new FICO 10. Now, for those who don't, know what the FICO 10 is, this is the latest FICO scoring model. So right here it says, if you've been carrying credit card debt, you can see a drop in your credit score soon. Those consumers with recent delinquency or high utilization are likely to see a downward shift. And depending on the severity and recency of the delinquency, it could be a significant impact. Now, FICO estimates that roughly 110 million consumers will see a change to their credit score with this new model that takes effect later this summer. Approximately 40 million consumers will see a shift upwards over 20 points, and another 40 million will see a shift downwards. So based on that article, what they're saying with this new FICO 10 score model is that if you've had recent delinquencies, high utilization, or even, credit-seeking behaviors, you're going to see a downward shift. And they say up to 40 million Americans can be impacted by this. On the other hand, some people will benefit. So this won't be a bad thing for everyone. And especially if you've kept your balances low, they're focusing on what's called trended data. So they have the FICO 10 and they have the FICO 10T. The FICO 10T looks particularly over the past 24 months. So, it's really going to be able to identify, how you've been managing your credit over a longer period of time versus, what your credit is at the particular, moment in time. So I just wanted to get your feedback on, thoughts about this new FICO scoring model and, how that's actually going to affect people going forward. And what are some of the things that, consumers can do to make sure that they're not negatively impacted?
So first thing, as I said before in other previous videos, is we always want to educate ourselves. Information is key. Credit Plug does a great job of disseminating the information to you guys. But from my perspective, what we do is go over through the credit factors, right? The 6 factors are what typically drives the score with an underwriter, right? We want to look at payment history. We want to look at your debt to credit ratio. We want to look at the amount of derogatories you have. We want to look at the inquiries. Your payment history has to be at 100%. Your debt to credit ratio has to be no higher than 30%. I would prefer it to be 10% or less for those, who finances are challenged, at least 30%. Derogatories have to be 0. That's your collections, your bankruptcies, your charge-offs and things of that nature. Inquiries have to be 3 or less. Your amount of accounts have to be 10 or more. Right. So there's a lot of times we fix people's credit and they have like 1 or 2 accounts. They still get declined because the amount of accounts that you have is not there. So we're going to go over that with you. And you need to have at least 10 accounts or more. The age is another problem, right? Your age should be at least 10 years and higher. Fix that through authorized users. But, and that's another issue. A lot of people's age is affected by accounts that have derogatories on it. So when we delete those derogatories, the age is affected immediately, right? So what we try to do is put together a plan where we are working simultaneously with you, right? So our responsibilities while fixing your credit will be the payment history, the derogatories, and the inquiries. Those are our 3 out of 6 responsibilities when we fix your credit, right? Your responsibility is your credit usage, the amount of accounts, and age, and we'll put together a plan for you to fix those simultaneously as we're fixing your credit.
How important is it, especially now, right? We have a lot of things going on in the economy right now. We have, record inflation, interest rates are increasing generally, and just based off of experience in the past, typically it's going to be harder, more difficult to be able to get access to, let's say, loans, credit cards, things like that in economic conditions like this, where lenders are going to increase the requirements. Right now, they're not going to stop lending, but in terms of the types of customers, the bar is going to be much higher. So how important is it, for those who might have derogatory items or, lower credit scores to actually address those items right now so that going going forward, they're still able to access, different financial products.
It's very important, right? It's almost like your second heartbeat, right? You have your heartbeat in your body,
Right.
and you have your heartbeat in in the world that you live in, which is your credit. You need an apartment, they look at your credit. You want insurance, they look at your credit. You get a cell phone, and the amount of deposit that you give, they look at your credit, right? Your credit report is always to an underwriter called a risk report, right? It's not a credit, it's a risk. It's how much risk do you have? What is your propensity to get into debt, right? So we want to reduce the amount of risk. And like I said, with the 6 factors, we can always determine that, right? We want to have, like I said, 100% payment history, the debt to credit usage, the derogatories, inquiries, all of those things have to be in the green, right? That's a RAG status, red, amber, and green. They need to be in the green, and we'll help you to get that. But to answer your question, it's very important to address those things. Because like you're saying, the amount of qualifications are rising because the risk is rising, right? If we're hitting a recession, if we're hitting a bubble, it means that the risk in the economy is increasing. So the guidelines are going to be higher for us to lend you money or to give you credit. But credit it's never changed in regards to you being able to scale up your life, right? With the advent of the SBA, a lot of people were qualifying for EIDL loans. With the EIDL loans, they were looking at your Experian credit report. So a lot of people called us. We had an overwhelming response of people calling to fix their credit during COVID because they wanted to qualify for an SBA loan because it's one of the easiest loans to qualify for. So people wanted to fix their credit because of that. And nowadays, they're giving so many nonprofit organizations are helping out, just like you talk about in your videos, with lending money, like Opportunity Fund and companies that you talked about like that, and they look at your credit. And this is a great way to get that business started that you're thinking about. A great way to take advantage of any type of financial products that exist now because of COVID, because of your credit. So it's without words, very important.
Absolutely. And, I've actually seen recently, and a lot of our subscribers can attest to this as well, a lot of institutions are switching up in terms of just doing additional due diligence checks when it comes to issuing credit. Like you mentioned, lenders are looking at, your risk profile, especially in today's economy. They're looking to reduce risk. I mean, and I've had these conversations, directly with underwriters and fintech CEOs. They want to get a better assessment and accurate assessment of who they're lending to. So I think it's more important than ever, especially right now when we see tightening of the credit markets, for people to be in the best position as possible to be able to continue to leverage credit, to improve their lives, whether that's personally or whether that's for their business. Can you kind of walk over, the new service that Crown Credit Pro is going to be rolling out and some of the benefits, how that kind of works?
Yeah. So because we had such an overwhelming response, and thank you guys for supporting us with our services, we've had to switch to 120 business day turnaround. We simply have too many customers, too many files, and to be able to get to everyone's file properly, we had to extend the turnaround. So what I decided to do, because there's a lot of people who need a right now service, they need it done now, right? And so what I decided to do, I said, okay, I'm going to put together a 30 business day white glove premier service that I myself are going to handle the files directly. But I myself am going to handle these files myself, send them out, and make sure they get processed as quickly as possible. I'm gonna ask you for 30 business days. Anything that I can't take off, I give you your money back. This is what I'm gonna offer to have people who are trying to close on a home or trying to get that business loan immediately or buy that car or whatever the case, and they can't wait that time to for that to happen. So that's what I'm gonna offer to help you guys. And that's basically it.
And so just to clarify, when you say the 30 business days, just in terms of like absolute time, because 30 business days would be, if we're just talking Monday through Friday, that's at least 6 actual weeks before.
Yeah. And the reason why we always say business days in any sense is because the credit bureaus work off business days, right? They don't work off weekends. They don't work off holidays. So we have to work on that same time schedule. When we send out paperwork, it's about 10 business days. Even if I send it overnight, it's 10 business days for them to get in their system, then an extra few days for them to respond. And then if I have to do a second dispute, then I use that time to do the second dispute. So then that's my 20 days, 20 business days. And that's where we're pretty much wrapped up with the service. So that's why I asked for the business days. It's not to to be facetious or anything like that. It's just that they work off business days and we have to as well. You can go on the site crowncreditpro.com and hit on free consultation. One of the sales reps is going to reach out to you. When you let them know you want the rush service, they're going to put you on a rush list. I'm going to pull from that list and work on that file the same day that I get it. I'm going to work on that file. I'm going to send it out. You'll have my word. Like I said, we sell integrity, not credit repair.
Again, appreciate having you on. And until next time, take it easy and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.